Now let us turn the stage over to our host for this afternoon. She is the citywide coordinator of the Independence Party, and I'm proud to call her a friend and mentor. Please welcome Cathy Stewart.
Thanks, Brian, and congrats on a great job. Hello, everyone. Hi. All right. Now, I want to ask you to do something. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and think back to when gas was 72 cents a gallon, when women wore big padded shoulder pads, when a loaf of bread was 61 cents, Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the world, Bobby McFerrin was on the radio singing, "Don't worry, be happy." It was a world before the internet, and the year was 1988. That was the year that ping pong became an Olympic sport, and Dr. Lenora Fulani led an intrepid band of adventurous independents who made history together. She became the first African American and first woman to be on the ballot in all 50 states for President of the United States. So if anyone still has your eyes closed, please open them. Let's take a look at Dr. Fulani on the road in 1988.
We move now to another candidate for President of the United States, Dr. Lenora Fulani. She is the candidate of the New Alliance Party, one of more than a dozen other candidates besides Bush and Dukakis. She is the only one of those others whose name appears on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. She is here for a newsmaker interview, which will begin. So you are running for president, but you're not running to be president, is that right? In other words, you're not saying or suggesting that there's any chance that you could be, in fact, elected, is that right?
Not unless we build a national third party, which is what I'm running to do.
But I mean 3 weeks from now.
I have no illusions about ending up in the White House. What I plan to do is to establish the option for the American people when they go to the booth to have someone other than this rich white man or the other to vote for. People need real options. That's what they're crying for in all of the newspapers, letters to the editors, and editorials.
How would you summarize your qualifications to be president?
Well, I've never been a grade B actor. I obviously am not, wealthy, nor am I a white man. My qualifications, like Reverend Jackson's qualifications, come from my leadership ability and the capacity to organize, 1.5 million people to come out and support my campaign through giving me their signatures. Over 100,000 people have written out checks in order to support the campaign. My qualifications is that of a black woman who's sick to death of being run over and under by a two-party system that does not represent me, and who's willing to do whatever I have to do and take whatever risks there may be involved in running for president in order to provide people with an option.
You've conceded that you don't expect to be elected president, but you must have considered, have you not, what a Fulani presidency would be like? What would be different about it?
Well, one thing is that I would have to fight my way to the White House, given that this whole process is so unfairly controlled by,
But you're on the ballot in all 50 states. I mean, people can vote for you.
One of the things that I would do right away, which is what I've been fighting for very strongly, is more inclusion on the part of the American people. I think we need automatic voter registration. I think we need to send out a message to the Congress, the Senate, and other forces that control the country at a state and local level that the people of this country will be more involved, that we really do believe in democracy, that there must be a majority rule. One of the things that people have brainwashed into believing in this country is that what matters in a race, be it for dog catcher or president of the United States, is who wins. But what really matters is who emerges from that race with political power and political leverage.
Lenora's campaign laid down the foundational issues that our movement continues to pursue today. Now let's welcome to the stage two compatriots of Dr. Fulani's who played key roles in her 1988 campaign. Michael Hardy, who also became an attorney in 1988, was an executive editor of the National Alliance newspaper, an independent weekly published for over 15 years. He covered the '88 campaign extensively. Michael is a founder of Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network, where he serves as the executive vice president and as general counsel. Joining Michael is Nancy Ross, a founder of the New Alliance Party and a trailblazer in the independent movement. She has run for office, lobbied in DC for democracy and human rights issues, and is now the director of special projects for independentvoting.org. Let's give him a round. Welcome, Michael Hardy and Nancy Ross.
Thank you, Cathy, and welcome everyone. It's always great to be here every year for the Anti-Corruption Awards and all of the leaders of the Independence Party. Congratulations on your recent mayoral run. As always, the fact that you do it is a victory, and so many of you are proud of your candidate this year, Dr. Now, you know, I thought a lot about this. 1988 was a special year because, as history will tell, she may not now be the only black person that's been on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, but she is still the only woman who's ever done it in a general election. There's no doubt that when you look back, you know, people always talk about laying the stones, and when you look back and think about how the current president made his path to the White House, certainly her achievement and the fact that it was a possibility and a reality is one of the many stones that led us to have a current black American in the White House, Barack Obama. So we thank you for that. You know, in so many ways, I probably would be sitting behind some desk somewhere doing something really boring if there were two people who had not entered my life at a very early age. And that's Lenora Fulani and Nancy Ross, who went on the back of a green bus running for governor and lieutenant governor, caught my eye and my ear as I was sitting out in the plaza down at the municipal building. And it's really interesting because you really tell what the passion of this movement is, because as someone who was looking to do something, you know, I wrote a lot of people. I'm one of those that used to write letters and say about this and that. I wrote letters, and the only people that responded were those from the New Alliance Party. And so here I am, and but for that, who knows what I may be. But certainly myself, Reverend Sharpton from the National Action Network, the president and founder of the network, who I have now likewise worked with for over 30 years, are two of the people that couldn't be more proud of the work that you've done, Dr. Fulani, and your work in social justice, your work to make sure that people really understand what the fight in the road to freedom is, and of course, your fight to bring inclusion to everyone. America would be a very different place if all Americans could participate in every election in a full way. And as we think about Mandela this week, he was a true freedom fighter. So are you. We're so proud of you and grateful for the sacrifices that you have made to bring us where we are.
So I'm going to tell you about Lenora's first run for office, which Michael just mentioned. Fred Newman, who many of you knew, was the chief architect of our independent movement. And Fred immediately recognized Lenora's leadership potential. And the year was 1982. Fred suggested that Lenora and I run for Lieutenant Governor and Governor of New York State. Now, my job in this campaign was to train Lenora. It was an easy job. Neither of us knew what we were doing. And Lenora never even voted before. But that didn't stop us because we were out to organize folks into the independent movement. It was a cause we deeply believed in. So Lenora and I traveled around speaking off of the green bus that Michael mentioned before. We went all over the state. Lenora was then, as she is now, a passionate spokesperson, and people were immediately drawn to her. She was a bridge builder even then, way ahead of her time. She spoke to everyone, black, Latino, gay, straight, white, rich, poor, everyone. Now, Lenora and I got 5,000 votes. The campaign was a blast. We loved the campaign, and Lenora and I became lifelong friends and comrades. So today it's 31 years later, and Lenora's commitment and her leadership to the poor community, to the black community, to educational development, to the independent movement, to bridge building has grown enormously. So it is my great honor to give Lenora this commemorative gift to my dear friend, to the inimitable, I have to say it right, inimitable political leader, Lenora B. Fulani.
Thanks, Nancy and Michael and Cathy and everybody. The reason why I spoke so fast in that clip is because I was never sure when they were going to cut me off. So I had to hurry up and get it out. And I was thinking this morning, I guess I was 33, and I was walking down the street with Fred Newman. My dear, dear friend and leader, and so many people feel that way about him. And he said to me, "How old are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm 33. He said, "Good, you can run for president when you're 35. So I thought the man was joking. I ran at 38. I had no idea what I was doing then either. Which was the fun of it. I guess the thing that I knew that I was doing was having a platform to be able to speak for our country, for the poor people of this country, for people who cared about the poor people and who wanted to transform them. And I would run for president again. I would run for anything again. I will keep doing whatever I have to do. I never worried about votes. I felt like they were aside. Our job was to break through, and we were able to do that in a lot of different and important ways. I've been watching the clippings on Mandela, and I actually have a hard time watching them because of the hypocrisy of many of the people who speak. This man was taken out of circulation for 30 years, and he came back and did the best that he could. And if you look at what's happening in South Africa, the level of poverty is like just unbelievable, not to mention what's happening in this country, the so-called richest country in the world. So I will not stop talking. Every time I get an opportunity to represent, I'm there, and I love all of you who've been with me for however many years. I love the green bus, by the way. If Jackie would let me, I would get right on it and go out tomorrow. But anyway, I wouldn't be me without all of you. It's been such an important ride, and we're going to continue to kick ass.